And my suggestion is you change the law so that way these 12 million people who are here, I mean, they're here, and let's face the reality. But here's another issue too.
Should they be here? Should they be allowed to stay here? Should the government be enforcing the law properly as Arizona put on the book? Should the government go get them when they know they're illegal and deport them?
Well, it takes it's our taxpayer dollars who are going to be paying for that as well. So now I wonder if
I mean, there's others that would argue that our taxpayer dollars are paying for the overburden of our schools with illegals going to school here in the United States. I don't know. I coached in the college, so I know when you go to register, you got to produce a Social Security. Those that don't want to get a Social Security can apply for FIN number and use that number. But still, in order to apply for a FIN number from the federal government, federal identification number, ID number, you have to put a Social Security number on there. So anywhere you go, our government knows what's going on. So should I be in the census counting illegals in that count when they're not here legally? If I go sell drugs, the police officer know I'm selling drugs. When they get enough evidence, they're going to arrest me.
Right.
So should we constantly make excuses by saying it's 12 million here? Arrest those businesses that got them. And they're here for a reason. I agree. And I'm just talking about strictly from the law. And I have many Hispanic friends. I've known Berto, X, and a whole bunch of them. Many white friends, many black friends, even though I'm Caucasian. So I'm not a racist, but I just believe you enforce the law according to the law.
Right, but just hearing you speak, I mean, I don't know if you realize, but even as you're speaking, you're correlating Hispanics with immigrants, and that's the idea is just to just making clear there's a different, there's two different things. There's 40 million Hispanics in the U.S. There's 12 million
immigrants.
No, the 40 million Hispanics. There's 12 million undocumented immigrants, and out of those 12 million undocumented immigrants, there's Asians, there's Eastern Europeans, there's Africans, there's
send them back too.
Right. So now I just want to clarify that just so that put things into context. So I mean, I don't support this because I'm an immigrant. I support this as a civil rights issue. I support this because there's human beings who are here, who are living under the shadows, and even for my safety, even for the economy, because what happens is, let's say, if you're in Arizona, right, and you're an undocumented person, will you report? How are you going to call the police if somebody to report a crime, knowing very well that if you call the police and they're not your friends anymore because they can take you? So how are you going to call to report a crime? So now that raises the crime. As an economic issue, they're here working. If we deport 12 million undocumented people, who's going to fill these 12 million jobs? I mean, will you pick up?
No, this is what I hear a lot, and it's kind of a rift between most black people that's not really aware. I hate to use the word uneducated, but aware. The rift between black and Hispanics is that these Hispanics are coming over here taking our jobs.
Which is a myth.
I don't buy that.
It's a myth.
I don't buy it. You can take all 12 million of, matter of fact, you can keep all 12 million of them in here and double it. It's still enough jobs in this country to put people to work and make a decent living if they wanted to.
Right.
But you got to understand, this country is built off of a capitalist society. And in order to have a capitalist society, you have to have poor people in order for the rich to make their wealth. So, I mean, poor people are expandable. You can keep all 12 million of them here and get up to 36 million. Still enough jobs out there to feed everybody.
Right.
But that's not what society wants.
And just to bring it to historical context, is this country was founded by illegal immigrants. I mean, nobody
came and took the country from the Indians.
Well, I mean, they came into a country with
Asian Americans.
Well,
and we paid them reparations.
Well, I mean,
y'all know that?
Yeah. What, the Asians?
The Indians. Oh, yeah. We pay them reparations.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you think, and I don't mean to digress here, but you think it's tough for you to drive and get pulled over and, driving while black and everything. Man, the idea of being an Asian during World War II in this country, you'd be happy for the way
DWB. You're going to have John running in here.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about you, Big John.
But I mean, and just to go back on we're talking about how we're draining the system. I mean, the undocumented workers who are working with a fake Social Security card are paying into the Social Security system and never going to get that money back because
they're not paying into the Social Security.
Well, every time they get a check, every time they get a check and they have a fake Social Security number, there's money that's being removed from their checks going straight into the Social Security system.
It's not going into the system. It's being taken out of the checks.
They're taken out of the check, but the owners of those bills are not paying it in. They pocketing it.
I believe that's called two separate sets of books.
It's called cooking the books.
Right. Well, I mean that's a business.
Should be on that.
Right, on the businesses. Yeah. But the reality is the undocumented workers are paying it. Now, if the businesses are holding on to it, that's a whole other issue. But the reality is
12 million. Just assume you took.
You want the calculator?
$5,000. No, let's say you took $2,000 out of their check annually.
That's $24 million a year.
No,
wait, no,
billions.
No, billions. Yeah.
You're already making Obama's
if we only
case
take $2.
For amnesty.
So,
right.
No,
you are already making Obama's case for amnesty.
Hold on. Now, Al Capone was one of the biggest bootleggers in this country. History records that. They tried supposedly everything they could to bring him down. They couldn't get him. They got him at the end on tax evasion.
Right. And it was like a nothing. What was it, a couple $100?
So, but what are these companies doing? That's tax evasion.
You know what? These companies are a lot smarter too than Capone was.
Well, Capone
and the
was
tax
smart
laws,
too,
the tax laws now are well, yeah.
But what happened is we have these corporations that benefit from illegal. They have our Congress and our Senate paid off the right laws to benefit them.
Follow the money.
That's not what's
follow the money. I agree, and this I agree 100%. It's like, you know, it's these companies who are paying off. You know, I voted for Obama and I voted Democrat because unfortunately the Republican Party hasn't offered me anything in Illinois. But
you know, I'm gonna open up a whole other can of worms here. And offer up the concept that some of this law was politically motivated. Mm-hmm. The Arizona governor is Republican, and a very ardent anti-Obama.
Right.
What put him
Republican.
on? It put him on.
I would have to say that definitely is a real big point too, because I know Janet Brewer, when she first assumed office, she was considered a person with no backbone, and she wouldn't take a stance one way or the other, and I actually was listening to some, talk show radio and stuff, and that's what a lot of people were saying was that, wow, that was like her coming out party.
Wasn't she also one very vocal against healthcare? Like she rode the bandwagon for a while?
I'm not too sure of her stance on healthcare, but I would have kind of imagined she really didn't have one stance one way or the other because she was always kind of indecisive, it seemed. But
she's a woman. You better be nice.
Wow, you want to talk about?
We're trying to get
violated a whole lot of.
We're trying to get her.
You're gonna have another issue.
Don't give out the phone number today. Don't want to call.
All right, real quick. We talked about this change, and I'm reading from CNN. Arizona Governor Jan Brewer signed a bill Friday that makes changes to a controversial new state immigration law, saying the changes should ease concerns about racial profiling. And there's a quote basically where she says the same thing, but it says that law enforcement officers, and I'm skipping over because I don't want to read the whole thing, but the new Arizona law requires immigrants to carry their alien registration documents at all times, requires police to question people if there's a reason to suspect that they're in the United States illegally. Under the law, the police would be able to detain an individual based merely on the suspicion. But one of the changes, which was adopted by state lawmakers Thursday night, says that police could stop suspected illegal immigrants only while enforcing some other law or ordinance. An officer could ask about an immigrant's legal status, for example, while investigating that person for speeding, loitering, or some other offense. The new law also makes it a state crime to live in or travel through Arizona illegally. And it targets those who hire illegal immigrant day laborers or knowingly transport them.
Yeah, right.
Right.
We're going to take this break, and on the other side of this break, we're going to flip your question, and we're going to ask, is the media overplaying this for political purposes? Talk to me with the coach, Michael E. Mayden, as we're talking about the Arizona immigration law. You are tuned in to Talk to Me with the coach, Michael E. Mayden. On this show, we place a strong focus on local and national